A guest avatar is a detailed description of your ideal guest. You may have heard of the concept of when you're trying to be everything to everyone, you actually end up selling to no one. The same is true for your Airbnb listing. You may already have a space that you're listing, and maybe you can see some trends in the type of guests you're getting. On the flip side, maybe you haven't bought your place yet, or you're building a place and you have no idea who's going to stay. Here's a couple of examples. I helped my folks do a simple remodel of their daylight basement to turn into a listing, and it did really well, even though they lived in a smallish town that doesn't have any sort of tourism. Well, after the success of that, they had a little house down the lane that was a long-term rental, a month-to-month rental, where they collected about $650 a month. So when their renters moved out, they decided to furnish that place and listed it out on Airbnb too. And it wasn't long before they found their niche. Their place was a huge hit with traveling nurses who were brought in for 3-month stints to work at the hospital in town. The differentiator that my parents' house had was that it was pet friendly with a fenced-in yard. Not only did they get nurses with dogs, but they got nurses with cats, and one even had pet birds. For these nurses, being able to have their best friends welcome where they had room to roam made it super desirable. Instead of making $650 a month, they quadrupled that and were consistently making $3,000 a month. Nurses became my parents' ideal guest avatar, and once they knew that, they could start to target them. So armed with that knowledge, my mom got a hold of their recruiters and let them know that they loved hosting to nurses if he had any that he could send their way. Conversely, I have a friend who was inspired by how well my little treehouse was doing, where almost all of the guests were honeymooners. And so he decided to build a little log cabin outside of Yellowstone National Park for honeymooners. He called it his honeymooner cabin. When I asked for the details, he told me about this incredible bathroom that he put in the master that was a steam shower and had all these fancy knobs and stuff. And then he told me that the cabin was 2,500 square feet. That seemed a bit large for a single couple. He went on to say that it had 4 bedrooms and a loft that can sleep 6, and I asked, how many people do you take on your honeymoon? He explained, well, that was just in case the honeymooner idea didn't work out and he needed to rent to families. But trying to do both, he's doing neither well. So honeymooners aren't going to book it because it doesn't seem intimate, and now you're going to have a bunch of kids playing in that big fancy shower. It definitely helps if you happen to be part of your ideal guest market. So Rick Oster has built a number of houses on golf courses. As an avid middle-aged golfer who frequently took trips with his male friends, he loved staying in a house with his buddies where they could cook and hang out together versus a hotel, but he hated that one lucky person got the master bedroom and the rest were spread out on shared rooms and bunk beds. So with him and his buddies in mind, he set out to make the perfect house for them, his ideal guest avatar, which of course meant close proximity to a golf course and that every room was a master bedroom. How genius is that? Your ideal guest avatar could be large girls' trips, snowmobilers, family reunions, couples, businessmen, etc. Really taking some time to think this through will be extremely helpful when you go to write your listing description and design your entire experience. It's especially useful when it comes to the marketing. Taking time to fill out the worksheet will make your ideal guest feel like you are talking directly to them. And right now, almost no one is doing this on the Airbnb market, so you'll really set yourself apart from the competition.